Alright, welcome guys to my Penguin episode 7 review, the penultimate episode. I watched it a good few hours ago now and sort of sat on it for a while. I had some other bits and pieces to do and I felt really rough. And normally if I do a review where I'm feeling a bit rough and I'm a bit subdued, people go, you hate it, and actually what you're saying, you just put a brave face on it. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to give you guys a satisfaction. I'm just going to calm down. I'm going to take some paracetamol and things like this and feel better and then come back and review it. And you know what? Really, really good episode. Genuinely, really good. We found out some really interesting things about Oz. Because a lot of people were... The image that they gave of Oz, the penguin, was not necessarily one of full-blown sort of barbarism and malicious evil. Okay? We know that his mother is someone that basically keeps him good. Turns out, no, that was not really the case, actually, to be fair. He murdered his brothers. Just murdered his brothers through blind jealousy and rage. And also being made to feel foolish. Yeah. Pretty crazy, actually. That was madness. Kind of to be expected, though, actually. Well, I think a lot of people should have seen that coming. I didn't. So I can understand why people didn't see that coming, to be fair. It was, yeah, genuinely out of left field. So we open the episode in the past, basically. We were introduced to young Oz with his mother. And you're led to believe it's just him and her because of how they're sort of doting on one another. And then his brothers, you know, sort of jump into the frame. And they're... Yeah, you can see this weird jealousy creeping in straight away. And you're like, yeah, this is really odd, to be fair. This is really odd. It's like outside the realms of normal sibling rivalry and jealousy for parents. It was quite bizarre. And obviously, we've seen the result of that. He murdered his brothers anyway. They go out and play. His mother sends them all out. They also come across that gangster. That, what was it, Rex, I think his name was, the individual that Oz idolizes. They come across him, and there was an interesting interaction there, is that Oz was fully aware that this guy was a gangster. You know, he was already trying to sort of move and shake, sort of get his name out there to this guy, basically trying to, hey, you know, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. Quite interesting. But his brothers weren't keen on it, obviously. Which was quite interesting. And yeah, and then he basically killed them because they embarrassed him and made him feel stupid. He locked them in what I think is a storm drain, like an overflow, so they just drowned to death, which is, yeah, pretty crazy, pretty crazy actually, pretty mad, pretty mad. And then we flash forward to the present day, and he finds Vic. Interesting interaction with Vic. Vic apologizes and he's like, you know, fuck your guilt or something like that. Go, get out of here. So he basically saves Vic's life. So he's still not all bad, but yeah, just weird. Just weird sort of, not weird characterization, just he hasn't gone full blown madman yet, even though he is still pretty much a monster. But I liked that. I liked the fact he saved Vic, told him to get out there because he saw Salvatore Moroni's men and him coming. Anyway, Salvatore Moroni captures him along with Sofia Gigante's men. And there's some interesting interaction with them. It's not really that worthwhile to point out in the flat or the apartment. But then when Oz leads him to the whole sort of drugs business, you know, the bliss business, yeah, from there, he basically winds Salvatore up so much that he goes to kill him. Because he's like, oh, you know, I can't get over the smell. Did your wife wear some kind of hair product? Because it stank. And obviously he wants to go murder Oz, which gives his henchman the chance to turn the lights out. Which then gives him the chance to go and break free and beat down on Salvatore, which he does. Salvatore does almost have the upper hand, and then he has a heart attack and dies, which I thought was one of the only things where I was like, you know what, that was a bit contrived and a bit shit. Out of all of the episodes, I've given every single episode 10 out of 10. I'm like, these are amazing. This was a 9 out of 10 because that was quite a contrived thing, and it felt silly. Like, out of everything, it felt silly, weirdly silly, and actually really out of place. And I do wonder if they went initially with something else. I thought, as Salvatore was beating on the Penguin, when he pushed him to the back of, what is it, like a tram, disused tram, I thought he was then going to pick out a gun, that there was one down there, and Salvatore obviously didn't know it. That's what I thought was going to happen, but he just died of a heart attack, and I was like, that's shit. Because it is shit. That's shit. It's contrived and it's shit. So, 9 out of 10 episode for me. Anyway, of course, Sophia's got his mother, and there's some interesting interactions there. Not like groundbreaking or anything like that, but it is interesting nonetheless. And Sophia's almost having like a weird breakdown of what she wants and what she doesn't want, and how she's almost like her father, but not like her father. And that Dr. Rush sort of helps her. Also speaks to Francis Cobblepot, or Francis Cobb. Did they remove Cobblepot, or was it just Cobb? I can't remember. Anyway, Penguin's mother, he speaks to her. So does Sophia. And there's some interesting conversations there just about how basically the Penguin is a monster because of her. But we know that's not actually the case. He was just always a monster. He was just a weird, weird monster. So I don't think it was because of Francis. I just think he is just a mad man, basically. Anyway, closes with Penguin's drug operation blowing up. And him basically being punched in by the police and going to be the crooked cop, and then being taken to Sophia, presumably in the next episode. A lot of people's sort of criticism of this, I would imagine, and I've seen posted on Twitter, have been, well, where is the Penguin? Where is the Batman now? There's so much going on. Where is he? And I slightly disagree with that, purely because a lot of people's argument is, well, criminals, they made out in the Batman that criminals didn't want to do anything because Batman was so scary. Yeah, low-life criminals, not big gangs. Like, I don't think that's an argument, really, to be fair. But also, you know, a bomb going off in old East Side. Is it East Side? Yeah, East Side of Gotham, which is the slums. It's not going to be massively on Batman's radar, to be honest, when it could just be blamed on like sewerage or things like that. And I'm not trying to make excuses for it. That definitely does sound like I am. I understand that. But I think that there's absolutely a way they can write this out. And maybe we see, you know, we're seeing stuff in not over a period of weeks. You know, we are seeing stuff in actually quick succession. So it could be, and this version of Batman's not got sort of the surveillance stuff that other Batmen have had. So we could see the end episode, whereas a silhouette of Batman pops up, because at that point it's only been a few days, if that makes sense. And then that bomb is what alerts him. The next episode will still be within that day. So it could be, but we'll see. I sort of take the argument, but sort of don't. I don't really mind it. I think it's absolutely fine. It's not that glaring as a plot hole. But anyway, there you go. I really like this episode. Aside from that weird, contrived heart attack randomly, I thought that was shit. But anyway, let me know what you think down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Cheers, take care. Bye-bye now.